I think I'm on here and live and good. Okay, so this is story time. I'm sure some of you will catch this later. Um, I have been a little bit MIA for the last month or so, so I wanted to do a little story time, get back with all of you. Sorry, there's a little bit of extra noise going on here. I'm going to try to alleviate that. Okay, so thank you guys for your patience. I know I have not been uploading many videos for the last month or so. I have been in a lot of transition. So if you guys have been following me for quite some time, there's been a lot of changes. I've made a move. I've moved to a different island, and which is fantastic. And in that process, my beloved kahuna and best friend, he has made his graduation and transfer to the other world. So he has passed from this world into the next. And so I have been taking the time to allow myself to grieve. And I have been taking the time to go through that process. And so thank you all for your patience for me not really posting or having much content. Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Um, and so what I really wanted to kind of bring to the table is the fact that even when we are going through an enlightenment process, even as we are learning to master ourselves and master our thought process and master who we are as beings and get into our God source state, we still go through of grief, okay? And whether a person is moving from this world to the spirit world, or there's a change in a relationship. Many of you are dealing with soulmate or kind of twin flame style relationships that can be back and forth. And many of us have had to make decisions to move on and choose ourselves. There's a grieving process that happens. So you do go through the stages of grief. And I want to briefly talk about the stages of grief, and then we'll talk about some changes I'm making to the channel. I'm more than likely going to do more lives, so I would love for you guys to make sure that you have your notifications on. So click the bell button and select all, because I'm feeling like it'll just be easier, better, more interactive if I just go live most days. And then I'm also going to be adding on meditations to the channel because I really feel like this next shift that we're going through, we all have an opportunity to be more meditative, and having a guided meditation, I know for me, is really helpful. And so I'm hoping that it'll be really helpful for you guys as far as meditation is concerned, because I definitely want this channel to be interactive. We're building a community together, so I want that to be there for all of us, okay? Other things with that, I'm also going to do some self-concept and affirmation videos that you can listen to at night or listen to like right before in the morning. I feel like this is the next stage. So during this month, what I remembered and realized for myself is that I am a master manifester, as are the people that watch me. We all are. It's just remembering our mastery and mastering our thoughts. So I will be posting a bit more about manifestation as well, and really how to take control of your own mind so that you can get the results that you want in the 3D world. So those are some shifts and changes to the channel. And then moving back to the stages of grief, we have a few stages that we go through, and this is the human experience. We all go through these stages. So the first stage is denial. So when we're in a process of change, there is denial. Uncle passed back in September, and I'm just now getting to acceptance. We're in what, April? No, so there is a bit of denial. Denial is the pattern before you know that you're stuck, okay? But we all go through denial, denying something happened, denying that a change has been made, denying that something has died or changed form, okay? In order to have the change you want, even when it's relational, because many of you watch my channel for relationship style advice, right? Or for the tarot readings on relationship. Anytime you want to change, you have to allow that old version of the person and the past circumstances to essentially change form. You could look at that as a death if you want to, but it has to change form. And we do go through this process when we're grieving the past version of a person or the past form of a person, whether they still be with us in body or not. Okay. And so you have denial. The next step is anger. So when you find yourself being angry, maybe not knowing why, what anger can look like is being irritated. It can be where you are in a position where you get irritated about small stuff and you're not really feeling angry that day, but it comes up like a wave. It can feel like outburst. It can feel like a tension in the stomach and chest area. And so those are ways that you can become aware, oh, I'm doing the process of anger right now, so I must be filtering through grief. Anger always is the outside bodyguard of fear. The root is typically fear, right? So then you have bartering. Okay, bartering looks like, well, I could compromise this way. How many of us have done this in relationships, or how many of us have done this in when we've lost somebody to death, right? Is bartering like, I would give anything. I would give my whole life to have 3 more minutes with this person, or I would give this, or oh my gosh, okay, I will do this to be in the relationship with you, just don't go, you know. So there's this bartering that happens when we're moving through a change in the relationship, trying to compromise or you know, change the outcome through physical acts and physical changes within the self. And that's not how you get there. It's on 2 opposite ends of the stick, right? So you can't get to what you want through that bartering and the holding on. Okay. Then you have depression. And depression is simply when the energy body, so say this is your body and this is your stomach right in here. It's when the stomach goes concave, okay? We have a little bubble. We have our energy field that's all around us, and then we have a bubble that's around our stomach area. And when that gets depressed, it's actually physically depressed, right? So it goes inwards. Then we have all of kind of the negative energies, the other thought forms sort of barrel in like a vacuum. And it takes some earth time to press that back out and make it convex again. Okay. So that's what depression is on the energetic field. Now, how you can feel this is, of course, being sad, crying out of nowhere, feeling lethargic, feeling fatigue, feeling these other types of feelings, and that kind of comes in waves. Okay. So I know from my experience with lots of the changes that I've had happening, I've been going through much transformation, as we all have been, given this astrology that we have right now. I can imagine you guys have shifts and transitions as well. And so this, you know, I've gone through waves where I'll just start crying and I don't even know why, but I just say, body, thank you. You're releasing. I'm so grateful that you're helping me to release the energies that no longer serve. Okay, I'm doing depressed right now. Doesn't mean that you have to do it for a long time, right? And then the last and final stage of grief is acceptance. When you finally accept that this change has occurred, and all is well, right? It doesn't mean that you like it necessarily, but you accept it. And having that acceptance is the key to manifestation, because expansion is inclusion. So as we're expanding in our consciousness, you include everything. Everything that we try to push away or restrict, what you resist persist. Okay, if you try to restrict and push away and kill off a negative belief or a pattern, or try to push away that something has occurred, all that's going to do is gain momentum. But when you accept it and embrace it and say, thank you, you are a possible option, and I'm choosing to think this way instead. And we will talk more about that on manifestation videos, because I've gotten a big aha over this last month just of expansion and how that's inclusion and how it relates to the mother. Okay, so we'll go through that at a different video. Okay, but those are the stages of grief, and we go through them with anything that we're grieving. Okay, anytime we process a change, there's grief. You may also notice that, like for me, I was waking up between 3 and 5 a.m. almost every day. Well, that's when the body is processing the lungs, and lungs process grief. Okay, so notice the time of day. If you're waking up in the middle of the night, notice when you're waking up, because it has information for you. That is on the Shen cycle, Shen. This is Chinese medicine, but our body processes organs at different times. And so this has been very eye-opening for me, learning to adjust my communication with my kahuna, my uncle. So we always have had a relationship from the inside out. Okay, so that hasn't changed. He's just in the other room, we'll call it. He's in a different form. But I did have to go through the process of grieving his physical form. That was really important to me. He was and is a very, very important person to me. He's one of my best friends in the entire world, as well as my teacher, as well as my confidant, you know, my warrior. And so that hasn't changed, that he holds those positions. It's just the form has changed. So how I communicate with him has changed. Mostly, you know. Like we always communicated from the inside out. So even when you are in a space of enlightened and knowing that it is a pleasure to move on to spirit, knowing that it is a beautiful thing to move on to spirit, and make that transition or graduation into spirit, we still have to go through the grieving process. I haven't quite figured out. I have learned how to lessen the intensity of it. That's through my NLP training. If y'all are interested in NLP training, we can talk more about that on a different time, and I can get you to the people that you can get that from. So I've learned to lessen the intensity of the grief, right? But it still has presented, right? So I haven't reached that stage of enlightenment yet where it's just a joy and we're happy, we move on. Maybe I get to that in this lifetime, maybe I don't. Okay, but we just are honest here on this channel. We don't put anybody on a pedestal. We all go through a process when we experience a perceived loss. Okay, and I say perceived loss because nothing has been lost. It's just changed form. But there is a perception in, I know, my brain that I have had a loss, and so I'm learning how to navigate now in a different way and through different forms of consciousness and communication. And so even with our loved ones, or our mates that we've had, or those that have been here to teach us a lesson but not necessarily going to be our compatible long-term mate, you know, we go through a process of grief as that changes. Okay, so just wanting to send you guys love, let you know what I've been going through. I am going to be coming back on. I'm more than likely, like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm more than likely going to do more lives and live streams with the daily tarot readings. I'm going to do my best to get back to daily or multiple times a week is the goal here. So if you guys can help me by sharing on the channel and really getting my numbers of subscribers up, because as of right now, I do this for free, you know, and so let's get me paid from YouTube, and then I'll put more content up, right? So it's like, it's like, let's get that rolling. So gonna do my best to make sure that I bring content out, and we're gonna start to elevate the content here. Okay, so as much as I love the tarot reading, sometimes we can get a little too worried about it being predictive, right? Tarot is simply there as a metaphor tool to let you know the energies in the moment. So you're always at free will choice to change your environment, to change your mind. It lets you know if you go on this trajectory, this is the possible outcome. This is where most of the energy is flowing. Doesn't mean it has to happen that way. So you are in charge of your life. You are a creator. I'm a creator. And so we are going to co-create together and really learn how to be more efficient in our creation and our manifestation. And that includes, but is not limited to, our relationships and romantic relationships. Okay, so new content coming out. Just wanted to let you guys know where I've been, what I've been doing. So much transformation has been happening for me. And so thank you for your patience as I have been a little bit MIA, and I will be back with it with you guys here in the following days and weeks. And I'm looking forward to it. Okay, awesome. Thank you. I grew up in Cincy. Shay, do I know you? I grew up in Cincinnati. That's really cool. So awesome. Okay, y'all. Well, I love you, and I'm gonna get off here for now. I think that. Oh, Amber. Okay, hey, babe. I was like, I don't know. Do it. Oh, hey, girl. Love you. You'll have to come visit in Hawaii. So, okay. So love you guys, and that's just letting you know what has been going on with me. And so again, thank you for your patience, and I will be back to it in the coming days. Okay, so all right, see y'all later, and until next time, aloha.